Live stream. Today is Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. And I will give it a minute for people to join. I normally do these streams on Saturdays from 12 o'clock noon Eastern, but sometimes life gets in the way and I didn't get to do it yesterday, so I thought I'd get to do it today. And next Saturday, we will be back on our regular schedule. All right, and we have 3 people here. That's good. Adrian, how you doing there, brother? Good to see you again. And Randall P., happy Sunday to you too, sir. Glad you could join us. I was kind of undecided on whether I was going to do it today because I didn't get to do it yesterday. But I know people look forward to it, so I figured I would do it instead of skipping and waiting until next week. I hope you all had a good Father's Day last week and got some guns and stuff like that. We are only 14 subscribers away from 6,000, which is a biggest accomplishment for us. So hopefully can probably achieve that during this stream. And same here, Randall. Well, for those of you that were on the stream last week, I bought myself a couple Father's Day presents last week that I got to shoot yesterday. And to answer your question, Holly, no, I am not a gunsmith. So for Father's Day last week, I bought the new Savage Stance XR. I saw it on the cover of the NRA Shooting Times magazine, and it looked pretty cool, so I went out and got it. And then I also got the Ruger SR 1911 45 ACP with the aluminum frame instead of steel, and I shot that yesterday as well, and I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that the aluminum frame 1911 was going to have a lot of muzzle flip, but honestly, it was negligible, and I couldn't even tell the difference between the Colt with the steel sliding frame and the Ruger. And again, because it's a 1911, it shot perfectly. When I took it to the range yesterday, I think the first 7 rounds that I shot just blew right through the bullseye, so that was good. I'm really liking the Savage Stance a lot. It's a really nice micro compact gun that conceals very, very well. I just released a review on that yesterday, and I am currently doing a review comparing it to the Hellcat Pro, which is probably the best micro compact I've seen as of far. Yes, Randall, God has blessed me. I get a lot of cool guns. Um, can't can't find Celis. I do not hunt or trap shoot. Maybe when I retire. Personally, I'm just not really a long gun person. I love pistols. I do have some long guns. I built some AR-15s, but I'm really not a rifle or shotgun guy, even though I do own them. And hello to Invisible Meadow. Welcome to the live stream. I did build some AR pistols and rifles, and I do want to get a lever action 357 Magnum rifle. I just always wanted them. I mean, I'm old. Since I was a kid, there used to be a TV show called The Rifleman, and it was really cool watching them use that lever action rifle. And being that I own a bunch of 357s and have a boatload of 357 ammo, I figured the next rifle I get will be a lever action. I did narrow it down between the Henry Big Boy and the Marlin. And welcome, James. My favorite gun. That's a really, really tough question. I guess the problem is when you own a lot of guns, you have a lot of favorites. I'm not sure I could choose one in particular, but I guess what I could do is I can give you one in each caliber, if that helps. So if I was going to pick a 10 millimeter, my favorite gun is the Glock 20 10 millimeter. If I was going to pick a 45 ACP 1911, I would take my Colt government model. And if I was going to pick a 9 millimeter, I would probably take the Springfield Echelon. Glad you got back there, Randall. I don't know. Sometimes YouTube does goofy things and kicks us off. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, Randall. I'm really leaning towards the Henry Big Boy. I just can't decide whether I want the one that's all blued. I do like the one with the brass gate. It's really, really nice looking. But the Marlin, I think it's the 1894. That's still up for consideration, especially now that Ruger owns Marlin. I'm sure the quality's there. And Neo, I can't even pronounce that. But anyway, I appreciate the input. And this is why we do this live stream. Everybody doesn't know everything, but everybody knows something. And I find that it's a great way to share information back and forth. Somebody may want to purchase a gun that somebody else has, and they could share their experience. So I think this helps us all grow. And being that I am still a small channel, I just love the interaction with my subscribers and viewers. It's a great way to engage, and we always have great discussions. Yeah, I do have a few shotguns. We have a Remington 870, and for home defense, I do have a Mossberg 500 Persuader. But again, personally, I'm just really not a long gun person. I would never decide to go to the range and shoot trap or skeet. I do, however, like shooting some of my tactical rifles. Like I have the Smith & Wesson M&P folding pistol carbine in 9 millimeter. Even though it's a rifle that I like shooting, it's a lot of fun. I built a couple AR pistols and a 300 blackout pistol. Those are fun to shoot, but overall, I just prefer handguns. Yeah, I don't think you could beat the Marlin or the Henry. I was looking at the new Smith & Wesson. I think it's the 1854, but it looks too modern. I mean, I'm old school, and I like the fact that the Henry and the Marlin have the old school look to it. And we have some new people who joined here, so I appreciate you guys joining. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. I think we're only 16 subscribers away from 6,000, so we get closer to that 10,000 mark every year, every week. Yeah, I have the Marlin 500 Persuader. I like that for home defense. I'm sorry, the Mossberg. And hello to you too, Ray. Uh, when I got the Mossberg 500 Persuader, it came with a pistol grip. I did put a collapsible stock on it, and that is definitely a great home defense gun. And again, these live streams are for you guys, so if you have any firearms related questions or statements you want to make, even disagreements. I mean, we talked about that last week. We had a bunch of really good discussions going here, and disagreements are good as long as they're respectful. Everybody can't feel the same way about everything, and we're all entitled to our opinions as long as we're respectful to each other. I welcome debates, so that's a good thing as well. And we have more people that just tuned in. Again, I've been good, Ray. I hope you've been good as well. I can't pronounce that either. For my AR-15s, I personally shoot 5.56. I don't see any point in the 2.23. I got a boatload of 5.56 ammo, and I shoot that out of my AR rifles and pistols. Again, for those who just joined, we can't see who you are. It only shows me how many people are attending the stream. So feel free to say hello to people, etc. Unless you leave a comment, it doesn't show me who you are, so I can't give you a shout out. Yeah, and that's a good point there, Neolithic. You're not going to shoot a 12 gauge shotgun with one hand. And, in a home defensive situation, I mean, that's why it is called a gunfight. You may be, pushing or fighting somebody with one hand. You may be carrying a small child. So whatever you shoot should be something you can shoot with one hand. If you're already subscribed to our channel, I've had a lot of people ask me for dry fire training drills. So I will be adding a boatload of them shortly on the channel. If you go to playlists, I created a playlist called Dry Fire Training Drills, and I'll just be stuffing them in there as I get to them. I just received the Mantis X10 Elite. I'll be reviewing that today after the live stream is over. The live stream is an hour long. Typically do it from 12 noon Eastern till 1 o'clock. I had things to do yesterday. I was almost going to skip doing it, but decided to do it at 12 noon today, and I'm glad I did. I'd like to answer your question, Ray, and wondering if you get problems or pain if you shoot guns from time to time. Can you give me an example? Are you talking about pain from carrying it or pain from shooting it? And Neolithic, I appreciate you being a subscriber. I value all our subscribers, and the revenue we generate is because of you guys watching our videos. So we appreciate that. It's just as an instructor, it's my experience when I observe at the range that 90% of those people do not dry fire train. When they go to the range, all they're worried about is putting holes in the paper. They don't do anything that I would think you would be training on defensively. And that's why I'm going to put out a whole series of videos. And everyone from new to experienced shooters, especially people new to dry fire training, should watch them. So again, keep an eye on the playlist called Dry Fire Training Drills. I'll start adding them shortly. Well, there's a lot of things that can cause that, Ray. And good morning to you too, David. And hope you and your family are doing well. And thank you for the kind words. There's some guns that I have, Ray, that do cause pain, but it's because the stippling is a little aggressive. So what I wound up doing is getting Hogue rubber grips and use that. Other than that, and and I am old, I don't really have any guns that cause me pain. Yes, Neolithic. And the other thing is, when you watch people train at the range, they shoot and they holster their weapons so quickly. When I teach defensive shooting, before holstering your weapon, right, you have it in the compressed stage and you look left and right before holstering. I never see anyone at the range that's training look left and right. They just holster their gun immediately. And, you really need, in the real world, you need to assess and make sure you don't have threats in opposite directions. And there's a lot of things people do at the range. You could tell they don't dry fire train because they just go to the range and they're so worried about just putting holes in paper. But, that's their prerogative. And Kenan, good afternoon to you too, brother. And USMC, if you were a member of the Armed Forces, we thank you for your service. And again, those of you who are new here, please subscribe to the channel. I believe we're 16 subscribers away from 6,000, so that's a big step for us. I got to tell you, Ray, I'm sorry, I don't experience that. My firearms of choice are 10 millimeter and 45 ACP, and I don't experience any pain. And maybe you're gripping it too hard. Grip is very important. Some people just have too strong of a grip, and that could make it uncomfortable or painful, but I shoot my 45 and 10 millimeter without pain. Matter of fact, my wife shoots my 10 millimeter without pain. And 8 years, 99 to 07. Again, Cannon, thank you for your service. We appreciate that. And again, this live stream is for you guys. So if you have any topics you want to talk about, this is a place to do it. We try not to get political here, but sometimes it happens, and that's okay every now and then. But gun related is great. There's always someone out there who may be afraid to ask the question, but there's nothing to be afraid of or ashamed of. I mean, this is a place to learn. And I can't pronounce the HD, etc., but hello to you too. What is my first job? I don't think I could remember back that far. Have I encountered a squib? I have, personally, I've been shooting for 40 years, and I've never encountered a squib. And you can encounter a squib even with factory ammo. And I reload a lot of ammo. I mean, I've reloaded probably 50,000 rounds, and I've never encountered one. One thing that may help, Ray, especially with large caliber pistols, it's going to recoil, and that's okay. The recoil is not going to hurt you. What a lot of people do when they're shooting a large caliber is they try to fight it and they try to fight the recoil. Just go with it. Um, and that may be part of your problem. Maybe when you feel the recoil, you try fighting the recoil. So that may help as well. Yeah, I would tend to agree, Neolithic. You'd probably have a greater chance with home loads because factory ammo is almost impossible. I mean, every round has got the exact grain. Um, I mean, I try being as careful as I can. Um, I weigh every 10th round just to make sure that the charge is correct. But in 40 something years of shooting and reloading, I have never experienced one. It is very rare. And again, for those who just joined, I hope you all had a good Father's Day last week and got some new guns or new toys like I did. If you did, I'd like to hear about them. Like I said, I just bought the Savage Stance XR and the Ruger SR 1911 aluminum frame. If you guys purchased any firearms recently, I'd like to hear what you got. Gets harder and harder every time I go into a gun store to find something to get. I guess that's the problem when you have a lot of them. The only reason I got the Savage Stance XR is when I got my new Shooting Times magazine. It was on the cover and it looked really cool. But I'm glad I got it. It's a great micro compact. Um, I just compared that to the Hellcat Pro, and I'll be releasing a video on that this week. Um, and it's pretty damn close to the Hellcat Pro, I got to tell you. And it conceals extremely well. It's a great pocket gun. Um, when I was at the range with the Savage Stance XR yesterday, it was flawless with good ammo. I do have to say, and it could be because it was the first time shooting it out of the box, but I did have some aluminum cased ammo I wanted to get rid of, and it really did not like the aluminum cased ammo too well. I probably had 4 hiccups out of 10 rounds, but other than that, normal ammo fired flawlessly. So I would highly recommend that. And it's a great price. You can get it between 400 and 460, depending on whether you want night sights. Yeah, purposeful squibs. It's interesting. I'm not a gunsmith. I guess um, if you had to tap it out, you probably could use one of the brass cleaning rods and hit it with a nylon hammer. Yeah, you really shouldn't be concerned about that, right? Especially if you're shooting factory ammo. And Patriot Arms, welcome to the live stream. I have not tried the Mossberg M2C. Um, so I really can't say anything about it, but can do is add it to my list, and when I go to the gun store, take a look at it. Um, like I said, it's harder and harder every time I go to the gun store. There's just, I don't know, nothing really stands out at me anymore, except for a lever action rifle that I'll be getting soon. And Patriot Arms, I'm assuming that Mossberg M2C is 9 millimeter. Okay. I will take a look at it. I mean, I have way too many 9 millimeters. Um, I said I wouldn't get any more, and I guess it's almost like a loophole. The only reason I got the uh, Savage Stance XR is because I recently got rid of 3 guns. Um, so, in my opinion, it's not getting an additional 9 millimeter. So, but that's just a technicality. I'm just wondering, Neolithic, did he strike someone with that? Um, Gel time seems a little harsh. Or the round that got away from him, did he cause like property damage or something? And go show, I'm not even going to answer that dumbass question. Come on, guys. This is for you guys. Um, yeah, I'm sure you guys get bored hearing me babble all afternoon. So if you have anything you guys want to discuss or have me comment on, just put it in the chat and I'll do that. Eh, that's an unfortunate accident there. Um, Neolithic, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you strike someone, I mean, you do own every bullet that comes out of the muzzle. So, well, I got to tell you, Ray, um, I live in the great state of Tennessee, and I normally open carry, and you can walk past anyone, including law enforcement, and nobody looks at you crazy. But if you live in a liberal state, some people may get uneasy, and even if it's legal, they may call the police. I guess it all depends on where you live. It's not uncommon in Tennessee to see people walking around with firearms, and nobody cares. I've walked past many law enforcement officers. Matter of fact, I've had a few of them ask me if they can uh, see my firearms. Well, that's too bad, Ray. In Tennessee, 2 years ago, um, our governor signed a bill that you don't need a permit to carry open or concealed. Um, so, I'm going to have to, thanks for that comment there, David. I'm going to have to look that up. IWI. I've I've seen the Masada. I haven't shot one. Yeah, Tennessee is awesome. You know, part of what we have to do here is we fight for our Second Amendment rights. Okay, and a couple of days ago, I saw that the governor of North Carolina vetoed a bill for permitless carry, and it boggles my mind why a gun owner who wants to enjoy his Second Amendment rights would move to or live in a liberal state. It's almost moronic. It's like you're you're voting for the people to take your Second Amendment rights away. I just don't get the logic of that. I don't know, Ray. It sounds like you should move to a better state. Um, Tennessee is an awesome state for gun owners. I mean, we came from the communist state of New Jersey, and now we live in the free state of Tennessee. And let me tell you, uh, it doesn't get any better than this. Hell, I could even shoot in my backyard. No permits. When we lived in New Jersey, you needed a permit to purchase a gun, and the permit was only good for 90 days. And if you couldn't find the gun you wanted and the permit expired, you had to apply all over again. And those permits could take as much as 6 months, and that's a permit to purchase, not to carry. And I love in Tennessee, you can get as many guns as you want, go to the register and just pay the man. 9 millimeter throat punch, good for you. Georgia is a great state too. Um, there are more and more states that are becoming constitutional carry, um, but I don't think in our lifetime we're ever going to see national reciprocity, and that's because the liberal states are still going to defy the federal courts and do whatever they want to do and uh, tie it up in the courts for so long that it'll never get resolved. So I just don't see that happening. Yeah, after living in the free state of Tennessee, um, I won't go to a state if I can't take my firearm with me. I'm not going. But things do change. When we lived in New Jersey, we had a friend of ours who moved to Pennsylvania, and it was just right over the border. And he used to brag all the time about how great it is living in Pennsylvania. One election that changed. Now Pennsylvania is not gun friendly anymore. And McLovin, and that is correct. The Second Amendment does protect the other amendments. And see, this is the problem with the liberals and the government. It it's all about control. It's not gun control. It's control. They want a controlled population. It's really what it comes down to. They don't give a rat's ass about how many people get killed in a mass shooting. They just want to use every tragedy they can as an excuse to disarm us. And like I said, you need to fight. I do this all the time. Uh, I sign petitions for people in other states. I write letters to my representatives on a monthly basis, okay? Um, I wrote a letter and I just received a letter back from our representative, Diane Harshaberger, after I asked her to uh, vote for the H.R. 38 Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. And her response was that I signed on as a co sponsor for H.R. 38. Since then, I have continued to support this bill and believe it must be passed without further delays. Thank you for contacting me to request my support for concealed carry reciprocity. I want to assure you that you don't even have to ask. These are people we need to vote for. It's not that hard. You can Google it. You can go to NRA. You can find out the representatives in your state that are not gun friendly and vote them out. But we can't sit here and bitch and moan about losing our gun rights when we do nothing about it. We have to fight every day. Hell, I signed petitions for other states just to help out other gun owners. But that being said, as a gun owner, it's your duty and responsibility to fight for the Second Amendment rights. And a lot of people just don't do it. They take it for granted, but we're one mass shooting and one election away from losing the gun rights we have. Um, Even though Tennessee is a very gun friendly state, I don't take my gun rights for granted. I also find that I think hunters that don't shoot pistols are probably the worst as far as fighting for Second Amendment rights because I think their logic is, well, I don't care. I only shoot a shotgun. It doesn't pertain to me. But one day it may. And, when you consider how many gun owners there are in this country, um, if we all voted the right way, this should change a lot of things. So apparently, there's a lot of gun owners that just don't vote. But I check the bills in my state every month and find out which uh, bills are being uh, brought up that are pro-gun and anti-gun. I write my representatives here. I do it on a monthly basis. They're probably tired of hearing from me, but if you think that your voice isn't heard, they care. I mean, they need their voters' support. So they do answer my questions, and I'm sure they probably have me on a list called the biggest pain in the ass in the state of Tennessee. Um, but I do inquire about the gun laws in my state, and I do monitor the elected officials that are not gun friendly and make sure that I don't vote for them. There's sometimes, we haven't been here long. There's sometimes I look on a ballot, I have no idea who the person is. First thing I do is look up where they stand on gun rights. Yeah, James Lally, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, I was saying earlier, we have a good friend of ours that moved to Pennsylvania from New Jersey, and he was bragging to us about, oh, Pennsylvania's great. You could own machine guns. You could do this. You could do that. It's very easy to carry, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? Those gun rights aren't what they used to be. And that's what I was saying earlier. Our gun rights can go away with one election. And we need to constantly fight, make ourselves aware of what the gun laws are in the state, what the gun rights are, what bills are being presented, and urge your representatives to vote for or against them. And to answer your question, Ray, now basically you don't need a school or mandatory training to own a gun. However, to carry in most states, you do need training. But, that's another stupid thing. In some states, you need a permit to purchase a handgun, but yet you don't need a permit to buy alcohol. And more people are killed by drunk drivers. Um, you also don't need a permit to buy a car. You need a permit to drive one. Yes, David. I what I do is I Google their name and I put in gun rights. I also go to NRA's website. NRA also has a list sometimes of the anti-gun representatives in the states. But yes, use Google. I do my homework. Um, I also belong to Gun Owners of America. I think Gun Owners of America does a much better job than the NRA does. And here we go again with revolvers are king. Again, you're entitled to your opinion, but again, it's nobody's right to tell anybody else how they should carry. And Brenda Donahue, I agree. They don't care about safety. It's about control. It's not about gun control, right? They know that those dumbass buybacks don't work. It's about control. Um, I saw a movie one time when only the government and military were able to own guns, and it was called Schindler's List. And that's what they want is an unarmed society. Um, and unfortunately, these liberal states, they use casualties like mass shootings at schools as an excuse to promote their agenda. They don't care how many kids got killed. They don't give a rat's ass about the families. They use it to exploit them to push their agenda. Oh, California, God, I feel for you, bro. And buying a gun in California is almost impossible. Um, it's, I think their list of approved guns is about this big. And I don't understand the logic of that in California. In California, you can buy a Glock 19 Gen 3, but not a Gen 5. I did not get my first handgun 2 weeks ago, so I don't know what you're talking about. Glock 17 Gen 3 from LXT VXXN. I like the Gen 3. I'll be honest with you. Um, I wasn't a big fan of the Gen 4 Glocks, and I like the Gen 5s even less. I like the finger grooves in the Gen 3. Another thing I don't like about uh, the Glocks is I don't like the fact that you have to buy the Gen 5 MOS to mount an optic. Every gun coming out this day and age that's marketed as a defensive firearm should already be optic ready. You shouldn't have to spend another, 150 bucks like Glock charges you to get an MOS version. It's just stupid. I think in Tennessee, the cost of a concealed carry permit when I got here 7 years ago was like, I don't know, I think it was like 60 bucks for 8 years. And like I said, we're originally from the communist state of New Jersey. And when they had the Braun case uh, that determined it was unconstitutional not to issue carry permits, well, when Governor Free Stuff in New Jersey decided they didn't want to get sued and they were going to issue permits, him and the Attorney General must have stayed up all night. They came up with a list this big of where you can't carry. So even though they issue carry permits in New Jersey, you pretty much can't carry anywhere. One of them is, 1,000 feet from a school or a park. That would probably be almost anywhere in New Jersey. Um, you could be standing on the street corner carrying a firearm and it's perfectly legal, and you cross the street and there's an event happening and now you're a criminal. It's just ridiculous. They just did it so they don't get sued, but they don't want people carrying in New Jersey. And the magazine restriction, you know, it used to be 15 rounds. And then in the middle of the night, with the swipe of a pen, Governor Free Stuff changed it from 15 rounds to 10. And I never could understand the logic of that. Um, if you're deemed qualified and competent to own and carry a firearm, then why are they telling you, yep, you're competent to carry a firearm, but you can only have 10 rounds? So then what they're saying is 10 casualties is acceptable. So they arbitrarily picked a number out of their ass and said, yep, 10 casualties is acceptable, but you can't have a 15 round magazine. That's no good. It just doesn't make any sense here. And that's another great thing about living in Tennessee. We have no dumbass restrictions like that. And I still don't understand how, you know, the right to bear arms is a right, as opposed to driving, that's a privilege. But yet they're trying to take our rights away, and it's not their rights to take away. I don't understand what they don't get about shall not be infringed. And, uh, you know, how every state comes up with their own goofy laws and gets away with it is beyond me. Yeah, LXT, geez, 10 rounds. Yeah, well, that's what it is in New Jersey now. And actually, my understanding is New York went down to 7 rounds. And that was another thing when they came down to 10 rounds in New Jersey. I had to go and get all my magazines pinned. Um, it was just ridiculous. And then fortunately, we moved to the great state of Tennessee, and that didn't matter. But I wasted a lot of money getting magazines pinned, and then when I came here, I just had to buy them all over again. And I'll never go backwards. I mean, I could carry it anywhere I want in the state of Tennessee. Um, if it's a state I can't carry my firearm in, I'm not going. I'm just not going backwards. I enjoy my rights, and I'm not giving them up for anyone. And welcome, Fluoride 556. Again, for those of you who are new to our live stream, we do these every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern until 1 o'clock. Um, I didn't get to do it yesterday, but I didn't want to skip it altogether because I know people do like these streams, so I decided to do it today. But next week we'll be back on our normal schedule, and it is every Saturday, 12 noon Eastern till 1 o'clock. Yeah, LXT. See, this is another thing that these politicians don't get. So we already have enough gun laws on the books. We don't need any more dumbass gun laws, right? And they already know that they're intentionally doing this to cripple the law abiding citizen, because it's only us law abiding citizens that are going to adhere to the law. The bad guys are still going to have their high capacity magazines, they're still going to have their fully auto weapons. So these gun laws are doing nothing to stop crime. It's already proven that more gun laws are doing nothing to stop violent crime, because the violent crime is not being committed by the good guys. It's being committed by the bad guys. And the bad guys, like I said, when we lived in New Jersey, nobody can carry there, and there's so many damn gun laws. The bad guys got to be licking their chops, knowing that everybody's a target. I mean, look at Chicago. I mean, for Christ's sakes, the state of Illinois has got some of the toughest gun laws in the country, and over a 4th of July weekend, 100 people will get shot. Now, how's that working for them? And Fluoride 556. Yep, God bless Arkansas too. Arkansas is another great gun state. Yeah, well, yeah. See, that's the problem. It's a double-edged sword, right? The bad guys are going to do whatever they want, but we got a lot of bad guys that are in office too. But let me tell you, anytime there's a discussion about gun control, the agenda is not to stop crime, like they say. The agenda is to have an unarmed population. So this is why we have the Second Amendment, especially when we had Brandon in office. We had a tyrannical government. This is why the Second Amendment exists. That's why they're trying to take it away from us. You think they want to have an armed society? How are they going to control us? So, again, like I say, fight, sign petitions, join gun organizations like the NRA or Gun Owners of America. Reach out to your representatives, urge them not to sign anti-gun bills. But you can't do nothing and complain that you're losing your rights. We have to fight every day. And yes, to answer your question, Ray, if you come to the country legally and become a U.S. citizen, you are allowed to legally own a firearm. Does not say you have to be born here. You just need to be a citizen. My dad was not born here. My dad is a U.S. citizen. My dad legally owns firearms. And again, we have more people on. Thank you all. Yeah, and that's another good point there, Floyd. Um, People are buying things to avoid bans, but like the NF the NFA, for instance, and the ATF, their whole purpose is to just restrict what we can have, right? I mean, the ATF has abused their power for so long that, you know, it's just ridiculous. And welcome to the live stream, Daniel. But the problem that we have is that now, hopefully, the NRA, hopefully the current government administration will dismantle the ATF, because the ATF's job is to enforce existing gun laws, not to make up new shit like they do. That is the executive branch of government. And I'm hoping now with the new administration, they do a revamp of the ATF, because they've abused their power for so long. And again, that it's all about control. They don't care. The government doesn't care how many people get shot. They don't care about gun violence. If they did, they would be worried about how they're going to take guns off the street. But they don't do that. They worry about how they're going to control the American people. They already know they can't control the bad guys, right? They already know they can't control the population of guns from the bad guys. So all they can do is control us. They lost control on the bad guys long time ago. They're never going to have control of that. But what can they do? They can control the law-abiding citizen by making more and more unreasonable laws that only we will follow, not the bad guys. And again, for those of you who are new to the live stream, welcome. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I think we're only 16 subscribers away from 6,000, which is a big milestone for us. I'm trying to reach 10,000 by the end of the year. But the success is all due to you guys, and we appreciate that. And that's why we do this live stream every week, because I like the engagement and interaction between my viewers and subscribers. So thank you all. The guns that we purchase are purchased from the revenue that we generate on YouTube, and we generate that revenue because you guys are watching our videos, sharing our videos, liking them, commenting, which gets them pushed out to more people, gives us more revenue to buy more stuff to review for you guys. So thank you all. I appreciate that. And again, for those who just joined, it doesn't show me who joined. It only shows me the number of people that are on the stream. So if you want to give a shout out to anyone or just say hello so I can give you a shout out, I do like to acknowledge everyone that's here. I also want to apologize if I miss a comment or I don't acknowledge someone. It's because I'm trying to keep up with the comments on my laptop while I answer or discuss things in the other window. So I don't always get to see them. Sometimes a comment will just go right by. So I apologize for that in advance. And I'd like to know from you guys, if you guys were going to the gun store right now, what gun would you buy that you don't have? Because when I go to the gun store, it's almost impossible for me to find a gun that I want to take. It gets harder and harder. So I'm just curious, if you guys went there, what gun would you buy? And there's enough people on here that don't be shy. And it is 12:45. We do these live streams for an hour from 12 to 1. So I would be ending this stream at 1 o'clock, just so you guys know. So if you want to get your things out there. And Ray, yep, you can't go wrong with the CZ75. CZ's a great gun. And Steve, hello there from Scotland. Appreciate you joining us. And I feel bad for you out there in the UK. Very difficult to get guns. I worked for a company that had an office in Wales. I spent a lot of time in Wales, and nobody had guns there, even the police. But y'all do stab a lot of people in the UK. I do have to look at the shadow, fluoride. Thanks for bringing that up. I keep forgetting about that. CZ's nice. I do like the CZ Shadow. I've reviewed that because a friend of mine lent it to me. That is a nice gun. I thought I had everything else, but then when I got the NRA magazine, they had the new Savage Stance XR on the cover. I said, well, I don't have that. So and I am glad I bought the Ruger SR 1911 with the aluminum frame. My Colt is like a boat anchor, and my hip gets sore at the end of the day. And the Ruger with the aluminum frame is a lot nicer to carry because of the weight. And I beat the piss out of that at the range yesterday, and it doesn't have any more muzzle flip than my Colt. I was a little surprised, actually. I didn't know what to expect. I just thought that being it was lighter, it was going to give me a lot more recoil, but it was very negligible. So I'm really happy about that. And the price is right. You can get that Ruger for $500 and change, as opposed to the $1,200 I spent on my Colt government model. One thing I don't own is an FN. I don't know, from watching reviews on them, I just doesn't look to me like they're worth the money. Uh, that's just my opinion. I don't have experience to say one way or another. It just seems that comparing it to other guns in its class just seems to be a little overpriced. And again, we will be ending this stream in 10 minutes. So if you guys have comments, questions, or statements, make them now before it ends. We will be back on our regular schedule next Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. And we try to keep it at that. And like I said, sometimes life gets in the way and we'll adjust. But for the most part, we try to keep it at that. Most of the people expect it and follow us every Saturday. So we'll go back to that next week. And I think I'm still looking for another revolver. Okay, Ray, you have to go there. Glad to have you with us. Hope to catch you next time. We do this every Saturday, 12 noon to 1. And Ted Collins, thanks for joining us, brother. I love hosting this every week. I love you all. I love the interaction with my viewers and subscribers. It's a learning experience for everybody. I learn something from you guys every week. Like I said, everybody doesn't know everything, but some people, everybody knows something. And it's the exchange of information here that helps us all gain knowledge. So I am looking to get another revolver, probably looking at the Ruger GP100. All right, Ray, good to see you, and we hope we'll see you again, brother. I have the Smith & Wesson 686. I just got the Colt Python Combat Elite, and I want to get the Ruger GP100 just so I have the top three revolvers in my collection. My only decision is whether I get the Ruger first or I get a lever action rifle that I always wanted. But they'll both come. Yeah, the Mini 14 is worth it if you get it at the right price, Ted. Fluoride 556. I narrowed my lever action gun down to two. And it would be the Marlin 1894 and the Henry Big Boy. And I can't go wrong with either of them. I'm kind of liking the Marlin now that Ruger owns them. But when I look at the Henry Big Boy with the brass gate, it's really cool looking. I am going to get it chambered in 357 Magnum because I own a lot of 357 ammo. So, yeah, honestly, Fluoride, I think I am leaning towards the Marlin, especially now that Ruger owns them. But I don't think I can go wrong with either one of them. Yeah, I like the Winchester too. It's just a little expensive for me unless I get more subscribers and I get people that actually join the channel. I just don't see that kind of revenue coming in. I'm a small channel. I don't generate that kind of revenue. I'd love to have a Winchester. It's just out of my price range. So the question is, do I get the lever action or do I get the revolver first? I do want them both. Um, it's a toss up. Um, the reason I want the lever action and the revolver, and the reason I bought another 1911 is, like I said earlier in my previous streams, I'm getting tired of every time I get a new firearm, I need a new holster and I have more magazines to buy. And I wind up going to the range literally with a box of magazines like this. And it's such a pain in the ass where, you know, the 1911, I only need to keep two magazines in the range bag. Um, all the revolvers use the same ammo. But I can't tell you how many times I got to the range and uh, decided what guns to bring and got to the range and forgot the magazines. So that's my logic for that. More guns is more magazines and more holsters. That's another thing. I probably have a box of 30 different holsters. And every time I get a new gun, I need a new holster, and that just starts getting old. Yeah, I like the Winchester 1894. Maybe one day. I need a lot more subscribers than that. Um, I'm hoping to have 10,000 by the end of the year. That may help. Right now, I think I'm 16 subscribers away from 6,000. After 10,000, I guess you get better revenue. I mean, the revenue we get is very small, but I'm not doing this really for the money. I'm doing it because I just love firearms. I've been uh, firearms enthusiast for over 40 years now, and I just love doing it. And Gunnar Kincaid, hello to you too. Welcome to the live stream. It is 12:55. We will be ending the stream at 1 o'clock. For those of you who joined late, I apologize for that, but we do this live stream every Saturday at 12 noon to 1 o'clock. I didn't get to do it yesterday, so I did it today. And thank you for subscribing, Ted. I appreciate that. Again, we'll be back on our normal schedule next Saturday, 12 noon Eastern. Hope to catch you all there. Again, this was great dialogue, a lot of information, and that's one of the main reasons why we do this. You guys have questions for me. I have questions for you. We may all be looking for a firearm that we're not experienced in, and somebody may have one and like it or dislike it. So it's good to get that information ahead of time. And you be safe as well, Ted. We appreciate that. And Gunnar Kincaid, thank you for your service. We appreciate law enforcement as well. And we got 3 minutes left. So anybody has any last minute comments or questions, want to get them in before the stream ends, please do so. And you're quite welcome there, Gunnar. We definitely support our law enforcement, first responders, and military. You guys put your life on the line every day for us, and we appreciate that. And Fluoride 556. Yeah, I do think machine guns should be deregulated. Again, if you're a responsible gun owner, you should be able to own whatever you want. Shouldn't be, yeah, you're responsible, but you can't own this. That's just stupid. Well, Hakalulu, to answer your question, we support law enforcement here at Pro Gun, and a lot of people do. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't support law enforcement, and that's because of the way they were raised. When I was a kid, I learned how to play football because my football coach was a cop. Um, when I snuck out of the house, my neighbor, who was a cop, would put me in a cop car and drive me home. We trusted them. And we didn't have attitudes um, like they have today, but I'm digressing. All right, guys, this is a 2-minute warning. Any last questions or thoughts? And I do have some reviews to do after this. I just received the Mantis X10 Elite that I'll be reviewing. Again, I will have a whole series of dry fire training drills. So if you are subscribed to the channel, look under the playlist called Dry Fire Training Drills, and eventually they will be put out there. And Patriot Arms, you have a good day as well. And my favorite gun overall, if I had to pick one off the top of my head, is my Glock 20 10mm. Every gun I own is my favorite gun, but if I had to pick one, that would be it. All right, guys, we appreciate you all being here. Love spending time with you guys. I mean, you guys could be doing a lot better things than hanging out with an old guy like me, so I appreciate you spending your time with me here. Appreciate your comments and your thoughts. Best wishes. Hope to catch you on our next stream, which is next Saturday, 12 Eastern. Love you all. Thanks for joining. Have a safe weekend.